All right, and we are live. Magandang gabi, magandang araw, magandang tanghali sa inyo lahat. Wherever you are, whatever part of the world you're into. So again, now signing in. Happy New Year. This is the Resistance Trader and we are live. Now, before that, let me just check out our comment section para sa mga shoutouts natin. Thank you very much dun sa mga nag-share nung ating live broadcast. So we got 17 viewers right now. Maraming salamat sa inyong lahat. Don't forget to like, share, and tag 3 of your friends because meron tayong very exciting topic for tonight. Marami tayong pag-uusapan. Na-miss namin kayo. So, the last broadcast I had, I think, is before Christmas. So, that's roughly mga 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago. So, this is my first broadcast for the year. Salamat sa Musaijen and thank you very much for that wonderful intro, Musaijen. Ano? So, yeah, this is not the first broadcast of Musaijen, by the way. You can actually check out those who have broadcasted na mga streamers before me. Yan, sina Coach Reps, sina Surfer Min, and yeah, sina Plant Happiness, and si Coach Seth, by the way. So, by the way, don't forget also to watch out for their streams every Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, respectively. Maraming salamat dun sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon. Happy New Year! Happy New Year to shout out kay Miss Jamie Contreras. Yan, laging nanonood yan dito sa atin, no? Suki. Yan. Happy New Year sa'yo, idol. Now, allow me to greet you guys with Happy New Year. Ayan. Happy New Year 2022. And alam niyo yung itsura natin, ano? Pagka binasa natin yung 2022, and we realize that 2022 is also pronounced as 2022. Ayan, nabaliw si Simpson. Well, that's kidding aside, no. I would like to greet you guys happy Tiger New Year. No, not that I'm subscribed to any feng shui. Don't get me wrong, but of course, we actually would like to have an ounce of positivity, and tiger is a symbol of strength. We are looking forward that the 2022, especially for the markets, will be very strong for the crypto markets. No, we hope that despite the global pandemic, this is a prayer and a hope, no, for all of the markets out there, not just crypto, to be as strong as a tiger by 2022. Kasi sabi ng Chinese zodiac, 2022 is the year of the tiger. All right. So yan. Market updates muna tayo, but before that, allow me to call on stage our special guest. Yan. Panoorin natin tong introduction niya.
I got it.
All right, the guy that needs no further introduction, meron pang background voice over, di ba? Mr. Sly-Fi, aka Slytech. Welcome, bro. Happy New Year to you, bro.
Hey,
Say hi
happy
to
New Year to
our
everyone. What's up?
yeah.
What's up, guys? It's great to
We've
be
got a
back.
we have a very special topic tonight, Sly, right? So please stay tuned up to the very end of this broadcast. But before that, allow me to share again my screen. Share natin
Sure,
yung
let's
screen
do it.
natin for our market updates. Pag-usapan muna natin, ano bang update sa merkado? Dumudugo, color red, no? Tignan muna natin. So, let's start and begin with our, of course, all-time favorite,
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
We
let's
got we
check
got to
this
rest
out.
expectations for this for the audience.
Yep. Just to arrest your expectation, guys, there is nothing hindi to hindi kami magbibigay ng free signal. But yeah, maybe we can. Pero by the way, just a disclaimer though, this is a trade at your own risk segment. So we will be discussing about the updates, but I encourage everyone, every viewer to actually study it yourself as well para
Mm.
maintindihan nyo what we are talking about. Now, let's begin, Sly. This one is the CME. or the Chicago Mercantile Exchange graph. Marami kasi nung bakasyon, no, nagre-request sa akin. Hindi kasi ako masyadong nag-graph nung vacation. I actually took some hiatus. Lalo na
Mm.
ano, I just took some rest. Of course, kailangan natin yan for our mental health and everything. But I did trade. I did trade. I just don't share. I didn't share much on the graphs and TA, FA, fundamental or technical. So this will be the first. Well, actually, I did a tweet and a post on our own
Mm.
page. And by the way, shameless plug. So, sa mga hindi pa nakakapag-like and nakakapag-follow ng page namin and ng Twitter namin, please follow us no, the Resistance Trader T2 and Twitter.com. And of course, the Resistance Trader page here in Facebook.com. Now, without further ado, let's discuss about this Bitcoin graph that is in front of us right now. So we can see that Bitcoin actually went down during the holidays, no? Nung holiday season, especially nung Christmas, it went actually down, really down to level around 40,000. It's 41 to 42,000 right now, trying to recover. But as we very well see, the price of Bitcoin right now is on the support level. This is based on the daily graph of the CME. Okay,
Quick
so
question: is that on the 200 MA? The red line?
yeah. So this is the
Uh,
200 MA, and we saw that the price action went down 200 MA. But still, I personally believe this is not yet a bear signal unless it crosses with the MA50, which is the green line. Okay,
right.
so not yet, and since this is a strong support level, as you very well see, di ba? Nalagyan natin ng highlight dito. The price action right now is in a strong support level. And if we actually check out the graph of the daily in Binance, we can actually see that the candle, kasi di ba ito, this is the real-time daily graph.
Hmm.
Kasi let's go back one slide. By the way, for the benefit of those who do not or the first timers viewing us right now, or who do not understand how the difference between CME and the regular graph or regular exchange graph is, yung CME, for the benefit of those who are viewing us, nagsasarado ito every Friday or Saturday morning sa Philippines. So meron
Hmm.
silang weekend. But if you will look at the real time, yung kaya ko sinabi real time kasi ito, on the real time o yung kasi 24/7 naman talaga ang Bitcoin worldwide eh. So on other exchanges like Binance, for example, you can check that the candle for the daily has been a doji. Nag-doji siya after the dump, di ba? That it dumped, and now you can see that it is in a green doji. So those who are studying or nagbabasa ng nagka-candle reading, no, will understand what we are talking about here. When there's a sudden and a massive drop in the price action, and there's that one doji, a green doji that appears, following confirmations or further confirmations, this might be again. It's too early, no, to actually announce that it is a sign that the price might go up, but it might be a sign subject to further validation. What's the primary validation that I do personally for me to say that the price might go up na after doji is I look 2 to 3 candles after the doji. Again, that's 2 to 3 candles after the doji. So if you look at the graph here, there's a doji yesterday. So the candle right now, yung candle as of writing na nagkukwentuhan tayo, is still forming up to around 8 a.m. tomorrow. So depende yan sa candle bukas, Monday and to Tuesday, January 11, if we can confirm whether or not the price might go up. So that's how it goes. But looking at but I don't know if you will agree with me, Sly. Looking at the profile volume of Bitcoin, the trading of Bitcoin. is a bit, slower compared to the previous days and the previous weeks. So
Right, because
looking
I
at
think
the
I think
yeah,
it's more if we look back historically, it's usually around the first quarter of. I think I want to honestly say starting 2018, usually around the first quarter, we start to see signs of movement in whichever direction. Usually in the first quarter, it's usually in a downwards trajectory. So again, I'm speaking from historical. So right now, I feel that number one, the holidays. Of course, we've seen that several times already, where there's that's the start of the market sell-off. Then come the first quarter of the following year, what we start to see is more like, okay, it's kind of like a no trade zone, kind of figuring out, okay, are the investors coming back, or are the investors slowly pulling out their funds, or what decision is being made during the first quarter, so that way, we have a better understanding of when to get back in properly or place whatever
yep.
positions we want.
I actually agree with that, Sly. And as a matter of fact, later we will discuss a bit about the fundamentals or the
Mm.
news. Because I would like to encourage everyone to watch out because over the weekend, or well, over the last week, no, the first week of January, which we will discuss later, a lot has been happening in the market. This despite the fact that the price action is actually dipping down. I actually find it
Right.
odd, Sly, personally. Although I know you're not fond of, fundamental analysis. Pero 'di ba normally, like if we see several news happening around the globe,
Hmm.
we see a trajectory also in the price action. Somehow it will tackle the price action. But it did not.
Well,
Despite
here's
the
the
so
thing, though.
many. Yeah, go ahead.
You're correct in saying that there's been a lot of news happening lately, especially coming December. Even now, there's a lot of news about new investors coming in, things
Lalo nung
like
first
that.
week, 'di ba?
Yeah,
Massive
even
yung massive yung news nung first week. It is as if the price is not going down. When you look, well, you try to Google kasi I'm encouraging everyone, our viewers, to Google news about cryptocurrency. Dati kapag ganitong pula, you will see a lot of negative news out there, bro.
right. But
Now,
okay, go
now
ahead.
when you Google it, when you
Go
Google
ahead.
cryptocurrency news, you don't see like not so negative. There's just one, two, three, article about it. I don't know. I doubt if Google is trying to. Well, maybe later discuss natin kasi I think Google is up to something. We will update our audience, our viewers right now. Pero, di ba, I doubt if they're trying to rig the algorithm just to show that there's no negative news. But I doubt. I really doubt.
Well,
Especially
I
there's
have my
a lot of
opinion on
news.
that once we get to
Yeah.
it.
Sige,
But
sige.
you have to, okay, just to sum up everything. If anybody was there around 2018, keep in mind the year 2017 was a great year for those who invested really early into the crypto markets. What followed was basically a bear market. But when I look back and do some research, what I found out is there was a reason why they called 2018 the year of the DApps, because the money being made in the previous year, which is 2017, basically went to pay for a lot of these new projects. Now we're in 2022. Okay. Those who made money during the run ups of 2020 and 2021, whenever there's like new projects coming up, what tends to happen is, which might explain the reason why there is kind of like a red market or a bearish market right now, is because projects or new ideas need funding. So a lot of these projects, or big investors need to pull out their funds, get the profit, so that way they can pay for the new projects, which then causes the sell-offs. Yeah, but it's in a good way, because then that money, we're assuming here, goes back into the projects for better redesigns, better UX, things like that.
Well, that's a good insight, and I have to agree that yeah. Well, personally, we are experiencing that on our end, no. So yes, there are people who are thinking, innovators thinking on how they can actually improve the
Hmm.
current industry market scenario, not just the market scenario, actually the applications. Later we will discuss that along the way
Oh, yeah,
when we
yeah.
go to
Let's
the
let's discuss
blockchain
that later.
updates.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but right now we're discussing the price action. It actually makes sense. No, that probably there are investors, traders, or cashing out Bitcoin or other cryptos to actually fund their pet projects or other projects, not necessarily their own project. Maybe they have a project where they invested in a project, and so Bitcoin is being exchanged to Ethereum for to actually buy a certain DApp or a certain game. Like especially right now, the rise of NFT games is on the on the hype.
Hmm.
So probably that Bitcoin and Ethereum are being shorted to buy the tokens or the NFTs of this particular projects. Yeah, makes sense.
Well,
That perfectly makes sense, bro. So
there's
let's
actually more to it, but yeah.
yeah, let's actually look at the yeah again going back to the chart. If we will look at this, we are now below the daily pivot lines. Now the daily pivots, this is actually Fibonacci based. I actually pegged or put my settings in Fibonacci. Now, if you look at it, this letter P pivot is actually acts as a signal for traders. Now, for those of you who are new to using the daily pivots is actually an average also of the price action, similar to an MA, but it's a bit more straightforward and no, the MAs kasi are curved. These are straight lines. So they're trying to these lines actually act also as a support and resistance because if you will see when you actually extend these lines leftwards or going to your left in this graph, you will see that the lines are actually previous support or previous resistance of the price action also. So it averages it, and you will see that there's a huge correlation on the previous support and resistance when it comes to the daily pivots. Now, when the price action or the candles are actually below the daily pivots, for those of you who wanted to learn trading, this is a very simple tool, a very simple indicator of the if the market is if the market rather is going down or upwards. Now, I would say it's a bit sideways because we just went down a few days ago, or a few weeks ago, the pivots, and it's actually hovering over support level 1 or S1 of the daily pivots. But if you notice the volume profile, let's go back to the volume profile of the of Bitcoin in by this is Binance. We see that as it goes down, the volume actually diminishes. So unlike other graphs that you will see, daily chart particularly, we know or we understand that it might go further south if the volumes downwards are still huge. But for the case of Bitcoin in Binance, by the way, this is a disclaimer. This is just in Binance. We haven't looked into the other exchanges, but in Binance, no, the buyers there or the retail traders there, numipis yung kanilang either buying or selling, the volume itself, which we will try to digest more when we go to the Bitcoin, yung kanyang yung Bitcoin profile later. So let's check this one. So you see that I draw a line here from last second week of December to today. During the holidays, although there are some spikes, but relatively overall, the volume of Bitcoin trading is actually waning. Okay? So, yung kanyang tinatawag na market dominance is also going southwards. And that's since October. So if you look at the market dominance, I don't know if you're using this tool slide, but for those of you guys who are actually new to the crypto markets, for seasoned traders, ang Bitcoin market dominance is actually used to actually measure if they people are trading Bitcoin or they trading other stuff or other assets. Now, if the Bitcoin market dominance is going down, that means that the Bitcoin market or yung mga nagtatrade ng Bitcoin is shifting their attention or shifting their interest. two other projects, which is what the Sly here is trying to mention a while ago. So kanina yung mga nanonood sa atin earlier, sabi nga niya, 'di ba? Maybe people are actually cashing out because they're trying to do their own project or cashing into other projects. Now, the Bitcoin market dominance is actually a key or a tool that you can use to measure that. And we can see here that indeed what Sly mentioned a while ago do make sense. It does make sense that people who actually are investing or trading cryptocurrency, Bitcoin and Ethereum in particular, are actually shifting their interest. So this is weird though. I don't know what Sly's take on this is. It's kind of weird though that despite for the longest time market dominance has been going or waning down, that most of the alts, as we call them, it's not yet flying that high. No, maraming nag-fly, particularly we saw the metaverse coins, some of the NFT coins or the NFT projects, but normally it's a trend. Eh. Like most alts, you will see will go up, but we did not see that happening. Not this bull run, not this run, that not this market run, not the last bull run, not this market run. We don't see it happening that when the Bitcoin dominance goes down. Sometimes even the Bitcoin dominance goes down. What's weird now, happening right now is like, even the price action goes up. Let's go back here. In the previous chart. Diba, I said from October to November, diba, market dominance has been going down, but you see that the price action of Bitcoin here is
Mhm.
just going sideways.
Actually, I was mentioning that a few shows ago that the Bitcoin dominance was curving out. But yeah,
It's
okay,
just
cool.
hovering over this. I created this channel, and you will see that the Bitcoin price action on the daily, on the 12-hour chart. This is Coinbase, by the way. Do
Yeah.
respect this channel.
Mhm.
And right now, as I previously mentioned, dun sa kaninang pinakita kong graph, yung previous shows natin, sabi natin they are still on the support. That support has been invalidated already, and we are now on the next support. Apparently, when we look closer, the previous price action did not went as far as it is right now. But I guess with the historical movement of Bitcoin, if you look at the leftmost, you will see that the current price action is somehow similar to the leftmost price action movement there was
Right.
prior to the great pump that led to our all-time highs. Diba?
Right. So
So,
I
yeah.
I think I think to kind of like answer your question, why we're not seeing the alt pumps like we did in the previous years. I think it's simply because the NFT and the hype behind NFTs overshadowed pretty much all the other altcoins. Because when you look at the altcoins and what their projects are about, it's basically, they're a cryptocurrency. Either they have faster transaction speeds, lower gas costs, things like that. But the question then becomes to a lot of users, especially nowadays, is so what? Faster transaction speed, that's fine. But I think where it comes down to is the NFTs, not just OpenSea and Rare, but we're talking about all these NFT projects, these games, these marketplaces. They've become the new altcoins. And what I'm noticing in terms of trend is that when we're looking at NFTs, a lot of users, especially new users, they're expecting utility now, not just, okay, there's a coin, it has faster transaction speed. It could be a store of value. Users don't want that. The trend now is it's becoming utility. What can I use this for and what can I trade it for? And when I trade it for something, does that have value? Then, of course, you have new projects that include utilities like token bridges, DeFi's, the swaps, things like that. So it all comes down to, other than it being a cryptocurrency or an NFT, does it provide the utility where we can do more with it now? So yeah.
So, sa madaling salita, no, yung pera actually is in mostly in NFT mismo or the non-fungible tokens. What the challenge about that, however, is that yung NFT is actually ano no, is actually hindi mo siya mag-graph kagaya nito. Kasi
Mm.
number one, the value of NFTs
Hmm.
are, hindi siya fixed. It's not, well, the reason why it's
And
non-fungible token. Kasi unlike the fungible tokens that it has at a certain point in time as a fixed value, NFT does not have that. Eh. Diba?
true. That's true that you mentioned that. But you also have to understand that because it now, the whole NFT hype is all about perception and what it looks like towards the audience. Now, we can look at both the good and the bad. The good side about NFTs, especially the marketplace, is that we actually have a very good price discovery mechanism because why? NFTs are subjective in price value. Okay. Now, that's the good side. Now, the bad side is you've heard all the news, like board yacht apes and all these other collectibles. What people are finding out is okay, when it was first introduced, you have like these NFT artists or creators who've minted thousands of these what looks to be different forms or different versions of a board yacht apes collection. you know People are finding out, okay, the only reason why is because of the rarity that certain versions hold. Okay, thus then who buys them up? The question is, we don't know who buys them up. So eventually when you look at NFTs in terms of the negative side, you have people basically trading with one another who could be part of the same team, or it could be actually part of a different group, meaning it's an actual authentic buyer or an authentic seller. Okay, so it works both ways, but what I will honestly say is that inherently NFTs, because they are subjective in value, at least they have the authentic price discovery mechanism because not all people will agree that this particular NFT is worth this much. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yep. So thank you for that insight, Sly, and it actually make perfect sense, no, that you mentioned that. So yes, meaning there are money. Well, you can check the volume, you can measure the volume, but you cannot simply measure the price action right now, simply because the price action is relative for
Y-
NFT, right?
yes,
It's
but
relative.
however, just as a warning, don't rely too much on volume because again, one person can sell it for 1,000, another person can buy it up for for
Exactly.
1,200. It becomes a
Mhm.
bidding war just to get the price up.
It's
So just
actually a bit
warning.
more tricky, no? Mas
It's
mas maraming laro sa price yung yung tawag ito yung NFT compared with the regular token or coins. I mean like that. No. No.
right. And I
Yeah.
think one last factor, I don't know if you want to discuss this, but it's the idea of the index fund. That's kind of like powering all this,
Something
by
like
the
that,
way.
yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not exactly an index fund, but it is something like an index fund.
Similar.
Yeah,
Kasi
very similar.
mag-a-average yung price ng NFT, lalo na when there are similar NFTs in the market. Well,
Right.
let's not talk about rare and rare balls, but just the similar NFTs in the market. Mag-a-average out yon as the law of supply and demand.
Mm.
So similar to, yeah, let's drop it. Axie Infinity, for example. 'Di ba,
Okay, let's go.
the prices of the teams are actually average out based on aside from the cost
Hmm.
of breeding is yung average market value. So the market actually regulate nagiging self-regulatory siya. Now with other NFTs, lalo na yung mga rareable, rare items, it does not follow that rule eh. Wala
The
sa cookbook nila yan. So you have to be
right,
very
because
careful with
here's the
that.
reason why it doesn't follow the rules. Okay, so like the reason why Axie, you can kind of say it follows the rules is because it's an ecosystem, right? It's governed by its own set of rules, its validators, basically what makes Axie Axie. Okay, now that let's put that to the side for a bit. Let's go to NFT markets, OpenSea, Rarible, just name whatever you want. The reason why it doesn't follow those rules because you're not dealing with basically like a herd, people who like if you look at Axie Infinity, I mean these are made up of like people who are just interested in playing the game. They love the game. Maybe they're investors, and things of the sort, right? Because they value the ecosystem of what makes Axie Axie. NFT markets are a little bit different. The reason why they don't follow the rules is because, again, you're looking at the idea of you're going from it's kind of like consumer to consumer. I forget what the technical name is, but it's like consumer to consumer.
So like a peer-to-peer thing. It's a
Yeah,
peer-to-peer thing.
it's purely peer to peer, but I want to say it's consumer to consumer because
Yeah.
you are the but let's use peer to peer. I'm
Mm.
selling to a single person out there who is willing to buy. Okay. Now, if my art resonates with you and you like what you see and the price is okay with you, then of course you'll purchase it, right? But again, you're just one person. Axie Infinity is composed of several different types of people who love the game, invest in the game, and things like that. They want to do something with the game, you know. So
Yep,
that's
yep.
that's really the main difference.
Yeah. Now, going back dun sa graph natin, there's a question here I would like to highlight. This coming from Carmel De Los
De los
Santos
Santos.
Cabarles. He asked, tinatanong niya, paano daw i-search yung pivot indicator na ginagamit. Now, if you are using TradingView, by the way, for the benefit of those who are new to trading or graphing, is a graphing tool. You can actually search it on the indicators on the upper center part of the graph. Meron dong tool, no? You look for the indicators. Kung hindi ka naka-paid, kasi 'di ba ang limited ang indicators for free trading view. You have to remove some indicators kasi hanggang tatlo lang if I'm not mistaken. Now, the reason, well, hindi naman sa sinasabi natin at but we're on premium kaya medyo marami tayong indicators sa pwedeng ilagay. But if you're on free, what you do is to actually bucket at least 1/3 of the indicators available and check it on the indicators. It's right there. The name is write this down, pivot points standard. So it's pivot points standard. And on the settings, you can actually check out then put na it's na aside from this hindi sa halip na standard yung ilagay mo. You can actually put in or input their Fibonacci setting para it will follow Fibonacci counts. So yeah, um, it's the daily pivots. No? Even traders from other markets like stocks and forex is using that. It's actually a good indicator of the market direction. Purely price action. Ayan. Ayan, meron din comment si James Musa, sabi niya, there are mix all-in-one indicator na free sa TradingView. Yeah, you can look for that one too. May mga ito yung tinatawag na mga scripts, 'di ba? They're free, but you have to look for it one by one. And some of them, although free, is invite only. Yan, may mga ganyan na tinatawag. So, tama si Vin James Musa when he said that. Okay, let's proceed, no? That's Bitcoin markets for us. No, if you got questions, just type it in the comment section. We'll try to answer. So, here's the Bitcoin market dominance. Napag-disco naman. Medyo mahaba na kwentuhan natin dyan. Now, let's go to my favorite, bro. Ethereum. This is actually based on the CME pa rin. And as you very well see, but unlike Bitcoin, that the price action went past the MA 200 already.
Mm-hmm.
Ethereum is currently supported at MA 200 and well, I'm not saying this, I'm not finalizing that the market is bullish, but I do believe mas bullish ang Ethereum market compared with Bitcoin if you will look at it now. And it makes perfect sense kasi kanina pa namin pinag-uusapan ni Sly on
Mm.
air. Kanina pa natin pinagkukwentuhan that markets like Rarible, OpenSea, these are mostly Ethereum dominated markets. And the currency that you use to actually buy into these NFTs, most if not all, is still, of course, kahit mataas ang kanyang gas fees, is like Ethereum, right? So it makes perfect sense that
Well,
Ethereum is a bit more bullish, no, compared with Bitcoin. Yeah, you're saying.
yeah, yeah. Well, as of right now, it's not bullish, but what we can say is that okay. So we've been hearing the news for I want to say for a couple years now. The idea of Ethereum 2.0 and it going over to proof of stake. I know it's possible now. I've seen some of the work that's been done. Now, here's my point. Ethereum, just like Bitcoin, Ethereum again has an infinite supply, but it requires miners. That also introduces certain costs, like your energy bills and things like that. Now, I
Oh,
think so.
sorry to cut. Hence, having an intrinsic value kasi may cost of production eh. Right?
Right,
Okay,
correct.
okay.
Now,
Mm.
with the introduction of what could be Ethereum 2.0 switching over entirely over to proof of stake now, entirely. Right now, it's kind of like I wouldn't say it's 50-50, but there's a ratio now. Once Ethereum goes over to 2.0, and it's the idea of proof of stake, what proof of stake basically means is yes, you'll still need miners, but you don't need a whole bunch of them. Instead of having everyone in the world, join in and mine Ethereum, in the proof of stake consensus algorithm, is that you only need a few. Okay, so these few are going to be known as validators. Now, what that basically means is lower energy consumption, especially for the entire Ethereum ecosystem. So, what's happening, or this is my opinion now, other than projects taking profit to pay for, let's say, this year's team in terms of the bills and things like that, the other idea is the fact that Ethereum miners are kind of worried that okay, my time has come. If Ethereum 2.0 comes out this year, all my mining rigs is pointless. Okay, so I might as well sell off my mining rig now with pretty much my entire setup. Okay, now they're not going to do this all in one go. They're going to be doing this little by little, meaning they're going to take profit even though the
Piecemeal, no?
price. Oh,
Yeah.
you. So it's that fear, but that fear is logically sound because if you can no longer mine Ethereum, and the only way to mine Ethereum is to become a validator in Ethereum, okay, and becoming a validator in the Ethereum ecosystem means you need to be somewhat voted in. Again, I come from EOS where there was 21 block producers or 21 validators, but Ethereum could be, instead of let's say 21, Ethereum could be, let's say, 100 or 500 validators, because um, you'll need validators for mostly two things. You'll need the good validators to secure the network, because if there's bad actors, again, you go to the idea of the 51% attack. Okay, so if you're a bad actor or a bad validator and you're not doing your job right, another, let's say, validator can come in and replace you. Okay, so validators secure the network. Number two, what we're looking for is faster transaction speeds. Now, currently, Ethereum on a good day does probably about maybe 15 to 20 transactions per second on a good day. A little bit more nowadays, but with the fact that you have a validator solution instead of this proof of work solution, is that transaction times now start to get higher and higher, because instead of having several miners out there in Ethereum, mining this one transaction, you basically you cut it down to, let's say, 100 or 500 validators that say yep, that's correct, transaction confirmed. So increased transaction speeds. Last but not
Yeah.
least is gas price. Under proof of stake, what's great about it is now Ethereum, and this is the reason why I'm still bullish on Ethereum. Well, not right now, but in the future, is because now when we look at Ethereum, we're no longer looking at it as a term of value like what we view Bitcoin. Ethereum will actually be kind of like the lifeblood, meaning there's utility, there's power in one Ethereum coin, and you can do so much things now. Because what I learned in EOS which is actually applicable in Ethereum, is that the Ethereum token now acts as like your memory. It's like having um, it's like building a computer almost. It's like you have all the parts, but it's all held in the Ethereum token. Okay, so
Yeah.
when you do deploy smart contracts, again, smart contracts require memory, and if the Ethereum now has the value of okay, zero point zero 0.01 Ethereum represents X amount of memory on the Ethereum chain. Yeah, so there's actually more value towards Ethereum instead of it just being a cryptocurrency. Yeah, but there's more to it. But that's it.
All right. Thank you, Sly, for that wonderful insight. No, very very insightful yung kunuwento mo. But let's go back a bit further, a bit back dun sa price action. So yes, as I mentioned, the price action of Ethereum right now is being supported in this MA 200, which actually makes it a bit more sturdier in terms of investors or traders. Pero let's check, 'di ba? Sorry. Let's check, 'di ba? Yung volume profile na unlike Bitcoin that there's a medyo ano no drastic yung volume profile movement niya. Ethereum on the other hand tends to be more stable pagdating sa volumes. If you look at the volumes, there's not much spikes. Like the volume profile of Ethereum is pretty much stable, which is actually well attributable to what you said since most of the projects are fueled by Ethereum. Ethereum, well, relatively will have to move price actions here and there dahil nga
Right,
labas-pasok siya sa ano sa ecosystem for
but
utility, for usage, 'di ba? So, yeah,
right,
makes
but in
perfect
terms of
sense.
technicals, but in regards to technicals, I mean, again, you have to watch out for the futures, the for any type of
Yeah,
CME futures.
of
So
course.
yes, it's bearish right now, and I think it'll keep going bearish up until the 300 MA. Again, my opinion only. However, I think when the time is right, we're going to start seeing the bullish cross once again. But currently, what I'm looking at right now, it still has room to go down.
Yep. And that room is up to around 2.8 to 2.6 areas. I see it in the graph
Yes,
right
yeah, I
now,
agree.
basically.
Yeah, 2-1. I'm
So
hoping for 2-1.
yeah, you're coming in at 2-1.
I'm saying 2-1. At least the wick down to 2-1, and then we start seeing movement.
Yeah, you're hoping for 2-1. 2-1 is a bit far, no? Nakita mo naman tong
Oh,
support and resistance natin. It's a bit,
yeah, but
yeah.
when we look at
Hopefully,
technicals, we've
mag-week,
seen some crazy rides.
mag-week ka lang, no, ng 2-1. Yun lang gusto mo.
Uh,
Mag-week lang siya
buy
sa
back
2-1.
in, buy back
You'll
in.
buy back in. Hopefully, it will week at 2-1. But, well, most probable price action that we're looking at if it goes down beyond because right now you see the current price action is very very strong support pa din. We know that it's subject for validation, but it takes medyo a lot of strength downwards. It will take a lot of bearish blood. It will take a lot of bearish blood to push it down at 2-1, bro,
Well, tax
because
season is coming up, so I think that will be the push
let's see.
downwards.
Let's see. That will be April, bro. Pero normally
Yep.
before the tax season, nagpa-pump 'yan eh. Para
Uh,
hindi masyado mababa yung ano eh. What I noticed no historical background of most of the token, particularly most of the major coins, particularly Bitcoin and Ethereum. Tama, may red candle 'yan during the holidays.
uh,
Come January up to March, magpapakita 'yan ng spike. Papakita ng konting strength 'yan. Para that spike is actually a momentum for the price action to not further go down. And then tax season comes in, boom, that's it.
yep.
That's it. Then even in a bullish cycle, that's how it goes. Even in a bullish cycle, I mean like hyper
So
bullish.
in other words, guys, make sure you have stable coins on the side just to be ready for the buyback.
Yep, yep. Just stand by your stable coins. Get ready for the buyback if and if. Ito pag-usapan natin. Well, we're we still have time and we got a lot of topic pero to gusto kong pagkwentuhan natin. The burning mechanism of SLP. Well, for the longest time, I actually believe that SLP, our favorite, no, has been supposedly independent of most major coins. But apparently, right now, with the dump that's happening in the market-wide dump, SLP is somehow affected. No, it's actually affected. It's not somehow affected. And it's really, really bearish right now as we can see it. But based on the price action and historical data, this can be one of the lows, the lowest of the lows. So we're still checking out for confirmation on the lower time frame for SLP, how it's gonna look like. But right now, it's down south out there. What I actually wanted to discuss, aside from the price action of SLP going down, is the burning mechanism and updates. There's a market update. I saw you posting it in your Facebook
Mm.
that SLP based on Jiho's discussion on the Japanese community, there will be a new burning mechanism by doing this stuff called yung parang automatic sahod for scholar. That's what they're discussing. Well, those who are not aware or familiar with Axie, may investor yan, tapos may maglalaro, we call that scholar. Now, Axie Infinity is trying to, create burning mechanisms, but the challenge or the problem of these burning mechanisms that they're up in the pipeline is it's still in the pipeline, whereas the price action is going down now. We actually need a burning mechanism not tomorrow but right now to
No,
actually
no, very true.
sayang eh, di ba?
Very
Sayang
true.
yung ano eh, sayang yung momentum ng yung sayang yung itinaas na momentum ng SLP. The company was not able to, the community as a whole was not able to, maximize that pump upwards para sana ma-maintain yung price levels at a certain level. I know they're not into rigging numbers, but you know, we have community chest for Axie Infinity. I actually don't get me wrong, guys. Those who are watching right now, I'm not complaining or whining about it. Take note that I'm also a concerned citizen for Axie, as I'm also deeply invested
Same
into
here.
this, yeah, into this asset, into this NFT game. And what I actually wanted lang sana, I admire that the company is actually trying to listen. They're putting in surveys, etc. But as far as I can see it, I don't know if you will agree, the company puts less priority, if you will, if I can say, with SLP's tokenomics.
Hold on now.
They're launching the
Hold on.
Ron, diba?
Hold on now.
Sige, go on.
Okay, so I my response to what you just said is more of the blockchain developer in me. Yes, the burning mechanism is the issue. I will agree with you there. However, when you start doing burning mechanisms, I believe it's both more good than it is bad that they haven't released the burning mechanism features yet. Because when you deal with smart contracts, especially in the burning mechanism, you have to keep in mind when you burn, let's say, any token, whether it be on Ethereum or on Ronin blockchain, you don't ever get that token back. Okay, so now imagine for imagine for a bit that they do implement this awesome features. Let's say a land play, better these other games that allow you to burn, let's say, SLP. Fundamentally speaking, that should bring the price up. But here's where the problem lies. We already know through statistics that when it comes to Axie Infinity and the amount of players on a like daily active user basis, if you look at, let's say, the charts that they have, we kind of near, let's say, 3 million on a good month, maybe 1 million on a kind of low month sort of thing. Now imagine, let's say 1 million players, okay, and they implemented all these burning features. You'll be burning up a lot of SLP token. But then what's going to happen, especially if they time it wrong? Okay, everything deals with timing. If they release the burning features too quickly, Okay, they're going to be burning up so much SLP, everyone's going to be expecting a price rise, which is good for everybody. But the problem is, once you burn SLP, you take it away from the total supply. Now, here's where the problem lies. What happens if you release the burning features too soon, especially in a bear market? People are wondering, hey, let's say there's 404 million SLPs and total supply, and we burnt, let's say, half of it. Yet the price is still 1 cent US. What's the deal? So it really comes down to a few things. Yes, we need the burning features, but at the same time, it really comes down to a timed move with the markets. Yeah. So I believe in Axie Infinity will release this, and if they have to do it slowly, so be it. Because I really feel a lot of this is a timing issue. Okay, when these features should be released. That's just my opinion.
Okay. We do not disagree on that one, Sly, but I just believe that somehow, some way should be there should be a burning mechanism that's up right now. I'm not saying burn half of it. What I'm saying is at least give out the burning mechanism now for to burn at least 10% of it or a portion of it. You know why?
Last,
Bec-
last.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why I'm saying that one is simply because, well, if the strong there's a strong backing in the community for Axie. I mean, the community of Axie is so strong. If they introduce a burning mechanism, it definitely won't go out of the ecosystem. I believe that. I don't know if you believe that too.
No, it won't because
Now, yeah,
it's
it's gonna be exchanged for a thing that's gonna be used in the economics of Axie Infinity. Now, having said that, believers will actually, well, this is no longer just a hunch because you said the numbers. That's 3 million, 4 million active users that we're talking about. Now, those are believers. If they are actually gonna be buying their SLP in exchange, you know, aside kasi sa burning mechanism na in exchange for an item, a burning mechanism in exchange for a fintech solution or a DeFi solution within the game is what I'm talking about. Now, the economy itself is gonna be, it's not just the burning mechanism of just burning it, putting it out, and then the supply is no longer there. No, no, no. That's not. There's a community chest. I can see Axie Infinity's ecosystem being, still lucrative and very, very, ahead of its time. I should say.
right.
But yeah,
Okay. Okay.
the economic side of it. Well, looking at the balancing of the economics of Axie Infinity, they really have. I can really see that there's really low priority in terms of the SLP, just SLP. AXS we can see, and Ron we
Right.
see
Right.
there a
No.
lot
No.
of
Right. Right.
SLP per se, which actually, I believe, well, admit it or not, aminin na natin, di ba? People are actually attracted to Axie, not of AXS or Ron, it's SLP. So maybe we
No,
should
that's
do
true.
something about it.
Well,
Not
again,
just Axie, but as a community. Right.
the blockchain developer in me says I agree with you, but when we look at this, how you deploy a smart contract, because a lot of these smart contracts under Axie Infinity, I'm starting to notice, and I've been reading up on it, is the fact that smart contracts can be paused. Okay, so whenever you start to see, let's say, Axie Infinity updates or maintenance, things like that, what's technically happening is they're trying to find somewhere within, let's say, the time of day where there's less people, so that way they can pause a smart contract, so that way they can mitigate any type of failure, whether certain transactions were pending, things like that. At least they can refund back whatever. Now, because a lot of the Axie, again, Axie is an NFT game. It is, you're dealing with smart contracts. Okay, smart contracts, they're they're difficult. Once you deploy them, that's it. Great thing about it is they took the precaution of adding the pause feature, which then allows them to kind of do like kind of minor updates or changes, so that way the entire ecosystem isn't messed up. So yeah.
All right.
So again, these things take time.
I know. They just said that somehow there should be an ambulatory thing that should be going on, right? There should be. I mean, like for the long, well, I admire Axie being independent of other markets like SLP and AXS, by the way. Even despite the fact that during the tax season of last year, most cryptocurrencies are even in a bull run is going down. These guys, these two badass are actually going going otherwise. So they're really, really. I believe they should. And I admit, I hope and I pray that they remain that way. No, 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 not dependent on the price action of Bitcoin nor Ethereum.
Well,
Anyway,
that's where we talk about index funds. But again, when
yep,
you're
yep,
ready.
yep, yep. Then let's just look at it at SLP on a lower time frame. So this is what I'm trying to say. And the lower time frame, well, what's the good news about it is that we see that the volume profile of SLP going down, or I mean the selling pressure or the selling volume is going down too, just like Bitcoin. So we hope that the selling volume of SLP will help, spring back or like a
Oh, it
springboard.
will. Oh, it
Yeah,
will.
that SLP will go back
Just hang on tight, guys. Just hang on tight.
sooner than the other, Yeah, I actually understand what you're talking about the index, and I believe in that as a solution too, and it's actually part of the burning, where you can actually put your SLP in a basket, and it can be part of an index, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I understand that one. I agree with that. No, we're not you know debating upon that. Let's proceed with AXS now. Unlike Bitcoin and Ethereum, and of course SLP, AXS is showing slight, you know, a glimmer chance of hope to move upward sooner than the other
Not yet.
asset class that we mentioned. Although it's below a strong, yeah, you see, oh, sorry, it's still below the strong support right now. Although there's a lot of room of movement going to the 53.5 thing.
Mm.
Um, it's going doji right now. Let's see how it plays out. But we're just reading the technicals and the market sentiments here. So again, those who understand and knows that the southern pump and this doji appear here, and it's confirmed. There's a probability that it will spring back.
Mm.
And that's for AXS for you. Let's check out the fear and greed index now. For the fear, well, we're experiencing extreme market fear right now. It's 23. And what does this indicate? The extreme fear, sabi nila, buy when the market is fearful, sell when it's greedy. So I'm not saying that we buy it now, well, given the price action, because we are still price action is king, guys, no type of guys. But yeah, if there is confirmation in the price action, this extreme fear will have to tell us that might be it's a good time to buy. I'm saying it's not right now. Right now, for me, personal opinion, is a wait and see game
Mm-hmm.
for most asset class. Now, let's look at the market updates pa rin, crypto news. Ito yung sinasabi ko, despite the fact of the food or the negatives that are happening right now in the market, cryptocurrency prices today on January 9, Bitcoin rises marginally. Ethereum, yeah, it continues to fall. Sabi nga ni Sly, it has a lot more room. Kasi compared with, well, again, balikan natin, Sly. Bitcoin is on the support level.
Mm.
Whereas
Yeah.
Ethereum has still a lot more room to go down compared with Bitcoin. So it
Yep.
makes perfect sense that Bitcoin will bounce back. Now, eto, sabi dito sa National World, why is crypto crashing? Crashing, rather. It's actually, well, again, still China food. So the Chinese are,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It's not just China. I think there's a lot more to do with it. I think
Well, Kazakhstan also
yeah,
has,
Kazakhstan was on the
yeah,
news. Yeah,
yeah, it's on the news.
and
Pero the biggest
here's
bro is
something.
in China. We know that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But the thing is, when we look at when miners, well, in certain cases, China kind of just banned Bitcoin again for the I think the 15th time. And then you have the
I
Kazakhstan
think this
issue.
is every year, bro, that they do the ban. Every year
They
there
do
will
it.
be news.
Right,
Diba?
because because here's how it works all the time. Okay, whenever we're in a bullish, like you're in a bull market when there is no China FUD for a couple of months. Okay, so that's when you're in the bull market. Once you hear the China FUD, that's the clue to say, hey, exit out your position slowly. Here it comes.
Mhm.
But other than the China FUD, okay, that which happens every year, I agree with you. Sometimes like quarterly. Then you have
Quarterly. China food quarterly, no?
right. Then here's what happens. Then you have, let's say, world events. Okay, now we understand that Kazakhstan was in the news and everyone's talking about, oh, there's an event in Kazakhstan. The Bitcoin miners, they got kicked out or they stopped production or mining. Their facilities shut down. Okay, that kind of like it affects the Bitcoin prices in a way, right? However, keep this in mind that on the same token, because a lot of these mining facilities, right, can be shut down either through government or geopolitical events, it doesn't mean that is the reason why the price of Bitcoin went down. Okay. It is a factor, or it could have been one of the factors, but it's
A
not the,
driver.
yeah, it's not a true driver. Here's a reason why. China can come back next, let's say, I think next quarter and say, okay, we take it back. And then all of a sudden the prices go up, right? Take the same exact thought process with Kazakhstan and say, okay, all the investors, they safely got their mining rigs across the border. Or they took the profits, left the old machinery in Kazakhstan and set up shop, let's say, in Greenland somewhere. So it's not I'm not saying it's easy to set up a mining facility, but when you have a lot of money, it can easily be, you can raise one up from scratch.
An up and down kind of thing
Right, right,
for the government miners.
right,
Government mandated or government rigged miners. Anyway, yeah, I agree with
right.
that. Especially with these countries whose market is actually controlled.
The,
Anyway,
the, the, only, the only thing I wish is like, give us a heads up first.
yeah. Anyway, eto pare, look at this one. Markets, sabi ng CoinDesk, no? Market wrap, Bitcoin dips its dominance over Ethereum shrinks. Sabi na, pinag-usapan na natin to kanina eh. Well, aside from the China food, the reason why BTC is declining is because this is affecting the Western Hemisphere mostly kasi the US rates for the interest rates are rising, they're actually increasing. What does that mean? Kasi kapag, let's just talk a little of economics here.
Sure.
Kapag sa free market economy, like for example, the world economy, US economy, or Philippine economy, pag sa Philippines, for example, itinaas ng bangko yung mga interest rates niyan, what the government or the regulators wanted to happen is for people to actually save their fiat or to hoard their fiat in the banks.
Yeah.
So, ibig sabihin, they will not this is good for dollars, but it will be bad for crypto. Why? Because instead of people putting their money in the crypto markets, they might as well put it in a safer haven in the banks kasi the interest rates are increased or may hike. Kasi nga sasabihin, for example, ginawa nila, sige, 20% yung ating interest rate. So, give or take. Now, what investors will do, they will hoard their fiat in the banks, diba? Instead of putting it in. And that's actually affecting the price action too. And this is in the coin desk. You can check this out one. Now, sabi nga ni Fermin, well, shout out kay Sir Fermin, sabi niya, it becomes more expensive to borrow and speculate. Yan. On
I would like
alternative
to also
investment.
add something to what you
Yeah.
just said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Sige lang.
Okay, so just to keep it short, so just for the U.S. markets, what we've always noticed that in terms of the interest rates, okay, they've been stuck within, let's say, these two areas. You can go below here, and you can go higher than here. So you kind of have to kind of think to yourself in terms of interest rates going up. Let's say 0.25. They can go a full percentage because we've seen what happens when they go like a full percentage. Okay, bad things start to happen. at least for the U.S. markets. But of course,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
happens to the U.S. markets, it goes to the other commodity classes. Now, here's my point. You'll start to notice that I think it was towards the end of last year, and even now, we're starting to see the idea of ETFs come about, especially in the crypto markets. Now, what an ETF does is that it's an electronic traded fund, which is more of a representation asset,
Oops,
kind of like a
hold your horses. Hold
yeah.
your
Go ahead.
horses. And speaking of ETFs, before you continue your discussion, let's proceed with this one. Meron tayong market update with ETF. Now,
Yeah.
the blockchain update, according to the Times of India, Russia's Sberbank is one of the state-owned bank, by the way. They launched their first ever blockchain ETF security, and we know how big is the Russian market. Now,
Right.
look go ahead with your discussion, bro, and let's flash this one instead of the
Okay.
other one,
Keep
since
this in
yeah, we're
mind.
done with that. Mm,
Even with the U.S., even with Russia, I think every country in the world has their own little interest rate problem.
yep,
Even the
yep, yep.
even the eurozones. Here's the point, though: when you start introducing ETFs and cryptos at the same time, what tends to happen is because they can be interchangeable between, let's say,
Fiat and crypto.
yeah,
It's like ano
fiat and
eh.
cryptos. No, no, no.
Oo.
Here's the point:
Mm,
is because now it's in the ETFs. Remember, ETFs trade really fast because they're not
mm.
holding the asset; they're just representations of it. Now, whenever you're in, let's say, a bind of, let's say, interest rate issues, right? Doesn't matter what country you're in.
Yeah,
Now you
yeah.
have
You can easily
two
pull it
comp.
out. Yeah.
You can, yeah. You can literally stay within the zone, no problem anymore,
Mm.
in terms of raising it a full percentage point or even a fraction of a percentage point
Yeah.
or decreasing it. So now you have a market, you have basically two markets where you have in each market has their own performing classes. Of course, crypto has several cryptos, so there's many performing assets. Not all of them, but there's a bunch of here in the crypto. In ETFs, of course, you have the commodities and all the other traditional markets that have its own performing things. So eventually, it's basically trading of the assets from one market to another very easily, faster, and interoperable versus what it was years ago, where you have to go through brokers, you have to go through over the counters. Now it's just they can just switch in between really quickly. So yeah, ETFs.
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you very much, Lai, for also putting your insight. And that's very, very good insight for this headline that we have right now. Eto, pag-usapan natin. Mabilis. Let's wrap this up very quickly. Blockchain update. 5 NFT-based blockchain games that could soar in 2022. According to the article of Cointelegraph and Cointelegraph.com, these are the 5. Drop na natin. Sabi mo kanina, you've got this commentary for DeFi Kingdoms. Well, before you give your commentary, i-ano muna natin, jot down natin, no? 5 NFT-based blockchain games. Take note of this and try to put this on your watch list. You get DeFi Kingdoms, Guild of Guardians, Galaxy Fight Club, Crypto Beast, and of course, Axie Infinity. Anyway, so we can put yeah, Sly, you can go comment on DeFi Kingdoms. I'll go Guild of Guardians. Then hatiin natin yung tatlo before we actually go to the next slide. Go ahead. What's your
Okay, so
comment about DeFi Kingdoms?
okay, DeFi Kingdoms. I like the artwork because I'm very into 3D pixel art. So that's what I like about them. They're mostly on the idea of land NFT, like land
Real estate
gameplay,
in NFT to.
real estate.
Parang
That's
mga
what it
ganyan.
is. So there's a lot of there's some upside with this project. Of course, again, it's still new, just like in any NFT games. It uses the Harmony network. You have to use you must have Harmony, and the great thing about Harmony is it's relatively cheap, and the Harmony network in terms of gas fees isn't that bad actually. So this game
Harmony is
is
actually another blockchain, another crypto for the benefit of our viewers, right?
yeah, it's an EVM
Yeah.
based blockchain. So yeah, you can get it off. Well, again, check. You can get it off exchanges or you can get it off swaps. So it's a very user friendly, almost not zero barrier, but almost near zero barrier to entry type of game. It's worth a shot in terms of playing it. I don't know in terms of certain NFTs will they go up in prices. However, the gameplay looks pretty fun. It's kind of like not Sims, but if you kind of like the idea of building up your own, let's say,
Parang Age of
real estate.
Empire ba to, bro?
Yun,
Age of Empires,
Age
mga
of
ganyan yung mga
Empires.
laro na ganyan.
I
Alam ko
think
na edad
if
mo, huli ka.
right. So if you're into that, that's pretty fun. So yeah, go for it for Guild of Guardians.
Yeah, now for Guild of Guardians naman, Guild of Guardians, I would say, well, I do not have an idea of its gameplay per se. Kasi totally it's very early stage right now. But I could say based on price action that their sale went up to around 30% higher kagad yung NFT sales nila. But well, shout out to the guy who actually introduced me to Guild of Guardians. It's actually a Morph G, I guess, if I'm not mistaken. It's a
Yeah,
Morph G game. Guild of Guardians was introduced to me. Shout out to Floy Coco of the Filipino Global Investor. Thank you for introducing me to Guild of Guardians. You can actually access their NFTs using IMX or Immutable X. So if you are watching us no mga previous episodes namin, one of our episodes discussing about Gods Unchained is also being sold to IMX or Immutable X. Now,
yeah.
with the Galaxy Fight Club, this is a bit odd kasi para tong alam mo yung mga Spartacus type, yung mga ano. I saw this one eh kasi parang I did
Think,
not play it. I just alam mo
think,
yung mga
think,
ano, yung mga yung
think
mga
Bomberman. Think Bomberman in
yeah,
64
pero
days.
medyo ano, medyo Bomberman siya pero yung alam mo yung mga ano, yung mga tawag doon, gladiator type. You
Mm,
know, there's a gladiator thing inside the ring pero yeah, Bomberman. I would say it's like yung graphics niya, gameplay, pero yung kanyang scenario or setting is like Spartacus or you get what I mean, Sly, right? So those
yeah,
of
yeah.
you guys who are familiar with the imagine niyo it's a game yung mga mga gladiator games sold in space and the gameplay is like Bomberman. Yeah,
Mm.
so that's in a short way of doing it. Now with Crypto Beast, I kinda well, this is an opinion article of I don't know kasi parang sa akin it's purely aesthetic if you're gonna be asking me. Kasi Crypto
Actually,
Beast,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Sige, go muna.
Well, here's
You
the
gotta
thing.
comment on that.
In terms of crypt. Actually, all the until we get to Axie Infinity, I'm starting to notice that in terms of a lot of these NFT games, entering the so-called metaverse, what I'm noticing is that they're really getting into Unity gaming development, and that's kind of like giving me signals like why are they choosing Unity? Why aren't they doing kind of like like the whole 2D platform type of gaming style? And I'm starting to see why they're doing it. It's because they're understanding the weaknesses of NFTs in the 2D world. When you start going to Unity, which involves a lot of 3D aspect game development, you can actually do way more. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that one, Sly. Thank you for that insight. Pero yun nga, yun lang. I think since most of these are in beta, especially Crypto Beast, diba? Crypto
Mm,
Beast is but I think they're still on their pre-sale pa nga lang eh. Well, they actually mas mukha siyang Pokemon kaysa kay Axie Infinity kasi there are a lot of shapes and sizes for their beast. No?
mm.
It's kinda aesthetically well. I think Axie is coming out of their own aesthetic makeup. Pero
R-
yeah, Crypto Beast is on it earlier. Yun yung
right.
kanyang
And
market selling point.
when we look
Yeah.
at Axie Infinity, and you look at the upcoming news about this, other than the land gameplay, I mean that's old news. They're going to be introducing a new concept of art design, which I think will involve
Yeah.
Unity because, like I mentioned earlier, you can do a lot more with Unity, especially now that there is a way actually to combine MetaMask and Unity and the whole, augmented and virtual reality. And since Unity is one of those stable platforms in terms of
Can you
development,
educate our no bro, our audience more? Unity is actually a platform for
well, 3D design.
yeah.
So if you come from the world of, let's say,
Yan.
like
Kasi
Maya or AutoCAD.
yeah.
It's kind of in the same realm. So
Yeah. So
Unity
parang
has been around.
kumbaga, you can actually do your own character and maybe features will still be compliant to the rules and regulations of the cookbook of Axie, but it looks a bit your art yourself. Something like that. So
Uh,
if you
yeah,
integrate it with Unity. So yun yung gusto
yeah.
sabihin ni Slido. Now, when Axie or other projects will go to Unity, your artistic designing of the NFT character, for example, will put it on another level. Yun yun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
this is what we're discussing right now. So just to put our audience back on track. Yeah, go ahead. Sige, tuloy mo.
So yeah, so when we look at Unity, I think what it comes down to in the upcoming months or years in terms of NFT gaming is and I've seen the sandbox do it. They introduced the idea of voxel art using voxel editor and things like that. So when we look at Axie Infinity and other NFT games coming out, when you start seeing the idea or the usage of Unity in their game development, you start to see that okay, now they're reaching out to more of the metaverse, to the 3D aspect versus the 2D, which you know when NFTs were just coming about, everything was all 2D, you know, pictures on a flat surface on your screen, that's it. But now, um, Unity development has come a long way in terms of it can now be integrated with the blockchain.
So madaling salita, the Unity is actually enabling artists to take part of the blockchain, 'di ba?
Right.
Ecosystem through this
Right.
platform.
I wouldn't be surprised that maybe later on other platforms like Maya or Blender might come into the mix eventually. So it's a thought.
And ito yung sinasabi natin, Sly, no? There's a lot of development going here and there with the whole blockchain space. So that's
Right.
why we're discussing it right now.
And the
And yeah, in the long run, we believe that adoption, we're not saying it's massive right now, but there's a huge chunk of the market adapting to the blockchain and cryptocurrency markets nowadays. And it's
right.
significant in number.
And the other thing is, when you look at in terms of let's say the market shares, why did they choose Unity over let's say Maya or Blender or other things? Is because there's a profound community within Unity development.
Yeah.
There's actually businesses and industries. So when you look
Yeah.
at
It's a very
okay, the up
important no, component ng mga
right
blockchain
because
companies
right.
to have a strong community.
So for
Yun yun eh.
example, choose any game developer out that's a Square Enix or something, and let's say they use Unity for a lot of their gaming development. So imagine a company like Square Enix, as an example. I don't know if they use Unity, but if you get Unity and their developers use Unity and it's coming from Square Enix, you see where the money can be pulled from for the next upcoming
Yeah,
projects for the next cycle.
of course, of course. Ayos, bro. So yeah, let's proceed to the next slide. Ito. Speaking of what you are saying, that's actually discussed. You
There we go.
actually
I was trying to
In
transition there.
Forbes.com, sabi nga niya, why video game makers see huge potential in blockchain and why problem looms for their new NFTs. Ito yun. Diniscuss na ni Sly, but you can actually read it in here in Forbes.com. It's part of what we have discussed is in this headline too. Now,
Right.
ito. Ito ang pag-uusapan natin. Kanina sabi ko, mabilis lang. Kanina sabi ko, maybe, well, aside from the fact that Google is into something, here is Google into something. Google Cloud partners with CryptoWire to develop blockchain crypto ecosystem. How is that for you, bro? Now, Google is now in the crypto ecosystem. Now, by the way,
Mm,
CryptoWire is a company based in India, in New Delhi. So you can actually check them out too, and they're a blockchain company. And well, if you read the article, it's revolving around making use of of the analytics, Google Analytics. Yeah, well, simply putting it like AI, for example, of Google, and integrating it into blockchain. So this is good news for us, right? By the way, I believe so. What's your comment here, Sly?
for this one, yeah, it's good news, especially when you have Google partnering. A lot of you have to understand that when it comes to a lot of the blockchain projects out there, especially when you want new adoption of users to use your new blockchain, okay, you need to have very stable APIs or basically endpoints where people can connect to. Every single crypto wallet out there, even if you build your own, needs to connect to some kind of endpoint or an API. Now, when you have a Google API backing your project or is providing, let's say, an endpoint, you can tell it's going to be, I wouldn't say stable, but the ability for it to be stable in the long run is now there.
Malaki
So
yung
now you can
potential,
say
no?
that, right? So
Mm-mm.
now the crypto project has some form of soundness in terms of oh, will it do better? Will it do good in the future as an investment?
May utility kaagad siya kasi it's integrated to Google, right?
Well, it depends what you mean by utility. It depends on the project or the crypto for utility, but Google being part of the project already adds the utility.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yun nga,
it
yun
supports
nga
it.
yung sinasabi ko rin. Yeah,
Uh,
we're not, yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. You just put it in
yeah.
English, bro. Anyway, yeah. Anyway, eto. This is the last update that we will have before we take a quick break and do with our special topic for today before we actually end up. We have a special topic na gusto natin pag-usapan. We'll review a project. But before that, this is what we call, ito yung pinag-uusapan natin kanina offline, bro. Blockchain in schools and colleges. Now, there's a trend happening right now in the space wherein blockchain is starting to integrate on the mainstream type of education. Now, kasi we know that blockchain is a database. So you can actually store your data there. It's immutable and alam natin grades, bawal magdaya. You get what I mean, right? So
Right. Right.
now the features of blockchain perfectly fits educational system, schools, colleges, etc. Now, it's actually discussed in the Indian Express. Now, speaking of blockchain in education or in the use of in the use case for education, we will be reviewing a blockchain project in a while. But before that, let's take a very, very quick break.
All right.
All right, and we are back. Ayan, tayo nakabalik na. And tonight's special coverage will actually be discussing about NFT or non-fungible token in LMS. Now, before we actually proceed with the actual review, let's just have a quick review or definition. Ano ba LMS? Now, for the benefit of those who do not know, LMS stands for LMS or Learning Management System. It's actually a software application, not necessarily blockchain, but it's a web-based technology used to plan, implement, assess a specific learning process. Right now, some prestigious universities are using LMS and integrating it into their educational system. Now, cutting the long story short, it involves video conferencing, recording of your grades, attending it online. So it's kind of similar to how uh, for example, if you're familiar with how Udemy works, yan. Yung mga ganyan, this is actually an LMS. And of course, love your own, Altash University. They have their own LMS, of course. So that's an LMS. It's actually a software, a system of software used for education. Ganyan. This is actually according to searchio.target.com. Now, yeah. Now, let's review this particular project, Let Me Speak. Let Me Speak, you can check them out at letmespeak.org. Ano yung ginagawa ni Let Me Speak? It's like, you can help me on this. What actually they do, they actually help people around the world learn English. Now, I think they're tapping into a very, very good market kasi there is actually a billion people around the world annually spending X amount of money. Pagpalagay na natin, di ba, $100 a year to actually learn how to speak English on the onset of globalization and a globalized economy, interconnected markets. That's the trend right now. And particularly there's a huge market for this one in China. Now, what Let Me Speak is doing right now, they actually tokenize your way of learning English. I actually admire it, and I actually read their white paper and some sorts. Sabi nila, 'di ba? What if you can actually earn while learning English language? So what they actually wanted to create here is a language learning metaverse. Maybe this is just beginning the English learning. Maybe they can expand it after some time to other languages too. But right now, it's on a pre-sale. What can you say about this, Lai? Sabi nila, yan, and there's an insight there that there's a 1.4 billion people worldwide learning English.
I think it's actually. I think this is one of the few projects out there where I actually feel that they're using the idea of the metaverse and NFTs in kind of a very positive way. Versus, yes, I mean there's a money aspect, but if you read closely on the website, basically it comes from grants. So if you do qualify, and let's say you pass their assessment, they'll give you, let's say, the scholarship to continue further with their product to learn English. Now, if this does go to other languages, I mean, go for it. Um, the one thing, though, just to kind of watch out for is, although I do kind of support this type of project, especially because it involves NFTs and the metaverse, is the fact that kind of have to watch out because a lot of this stuff, who is supplying the money? And once the money runs out, it's like, well, then the project is dead. Let's just be realistic. But the direction is positive. I personally kind of like enjoy things like this.
Well, when we dig deeper, it actually has a lot of support coming in. You can go to their Twitter account. There's a
Right. And I,
there's a
right. And I,
strong community for this one. I
Right, and
believe so.
when it comes to education, especially in the languages, I mean, I see a lot of companies actually utilizing a product like this, especially, well, not just here in the Philippines, but just all over the world. Especially
Abroad,
if
bro.
you,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
everywhere.
If you will look at their Twitter, you can actually see like influencers who has million followers actually promoting it, particularly from the Latin America
Mm,
part of the world. You know, let's say the
Buenos
Latin Americans
dias.
would like, yeah. Yeah, the Latin Americans. So yeah, if you wanted to hit on a Latina, then you can actually check out their community. There's a lot. By the way, there's a lot.
¿Dónde
Ang daming
estás,
Latina in this
biblioteca?
community. Yeah. Now, let's go back a bit. Sabi nila, the idea of is becoming a reality with the latest technology and business model. Now, we see in recent months, this is a reality here that they're saying. The GameFi enter the mainstream. It's a fusion of gaming and finance or the decentralized finance. Uh, Shout out to Fermin during his broadcast last Friday. This was discussed. You can actually check out the replay of his broadcast. He discussed a little bit further about GameFi. Now, there's a fusion of the words game and finance here. Now, and Boila into blockchain gaming. Put it there. A lot of colloquials and new terms are coming out of this industry. So GameFi is another colloquial coming out, and wherein they will pay for you to actually learn the language of English. Now, paano ka makapagsimula dito? You can actually go to their website and you can well, apparently, for those who are interested, this is just available sa, um, not available yet in Google Play Store. This is exclusive pa lang siya for Apple. And I think they're coming out for the live sale by January 31st
That's
of
not too
this
far away
year.
then.
That's not too far away. So those who are interested, you can check them out. Again, that's letmespeak.org, and they have their Twitter. That's still letmespeak.org. And I actually kind of support this type of projects. Now, if there are companies out there, this is a review, no, by the way, of another project. But if there are companies out there, or there are entities out there who have a similar idea and you want to come out into fruition, you can just ring us, me and Sly. By the way, you can message us and PM us. By the way, we're working on similar projects on testnets, and this is, well, relatively not impossible to do. If you got some time, money to spare, and you really want and you believe that this can help your community, your company, your entity, let us know. We'll be more than willing to help. So this concept, though not so new, can we can actually play around that concept and put it out into fruition. That's slide tech for you, of course, the resistance trader. And also, let's go to the next slide, Q&A. So before we actually end up, let's check out the comment section for shout outs and Q&A. Ayan. Okay, sabi ni V, I don't know what he's talking about kasi kanina pa 'to, pero you can comment din James Musa, ano yung sold out para sa benefit ng ating ano, anong NFT ang tinutukoy mong sold out na? We've discussed a handful today. So maybe you can put it in the
Uh,
comment
I think
section.
he's I think he's talking about something crypto beasts. I did see their website. It's like it's all zeros or something. He could be talking about that.
Baka CryptoBees or baka GOG din kasi GOG sold out din eh. So
Yeah.
yeah, you can clarify that on the comment section. Yan,
Uh,
GOG nga, sabi ni Vinjin.
GOG.
Yan,
GOG.
let's highlight that. GOG is sold out na daw. Now, there's a comment here coming from, eto, sabi ni RJ Fresnosa. Malaking bagay nga daw yung Google connectivity and everything because it's in the whole world. So in a sense, Google can connect to almost not everything, but almost everything online. Yeah, kinda agree with that. So if you guys have questions, kindly type it in. Kung meron pa kayong gustong itanong sa amin, by the way, again, before we end, please don't forget to actually again check out other streamers. We've got si Miss Leia every Tuesdays. We've got si Coach Seth every Wednesdays. Of course, Mr. Fermin Baranechea, the Fermin Baranechea the third during Fridays, and si Coach Reps during Saturdays, and yours truly every Sunday. And again, don't forget to like, share, tag three of your friends in every broadcast. Now, may question si Onin Zulueta. 1M supply is good ba, sir? Yeah, would you like to take a stab on this, Sly? 1
Uh,
million supply is good na ba? I mean, like, I think he's talking about
mm,
tokenomics.
it really depends. Technically, it all yeah, it really depends on tokenomics. 1 million supply is good if, let's say, there is some kind of
Balance.
rare
Yeah.
balance, rarity, and some kind of mechanism to kind of just, if there is an adoption taking place with only a 1 million supply, that means whatever the product is, whether it be crypto, it's got to be rare or hard to get into or something at 1 million. Because if you
Ako,
look at
bigyan,
if you look at
dagdagan ko yung
Bitcoin,
sinasabi mo. Yeah.
look
Dagdagan
at
ko. Ako,
Bitcoin,
depende. Kahit marami kang supply or konti, as long as you are backed by your community,
right?
right? Remember, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain are
Right.
all community-centric projects. So kahit
True.
1M yan, 10M yan, well, look at Ethereum, Bitcoin, they've got different supply. So the answer to this is depende sa community mo. Number one, community, sabi nga ni Sly, rarity, yung ano niya, yung value that it gives out, value add it gives out to the community and everything. Yeah. Anyway, so yun. Thank you very much, guys. And before we actually end our broadcast, no, don't forget to visit us. Me and Sly is teaching also in Altash University. You saw in the video kanina. Although that's 2021, we're opening slots for 2022. Those who wanted to learn more about cryptocurrency trading, we've added several courses right now. So yung mga nag-first take before, marami ng bago ngayon. No? You can visit us at Altash University, and you can meet our partners there like Blockchain Institute, ABU, Paxful, etc. It's in Altash University. Now, that's it. If you are not yet following us on any of our social media channels, please don't forget to like our page, The Resistance Trader, join our Facebook group, join our Telegram group, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And by the way, shameless plug, I would like to announce here over the air, since this is my first broadcast, that we're coming out of our podcast for our page, for our channel. It's not the Resistance Trader podcast. It's gonna be a collaboration with other podcasts and vloggers. It's called Crypt Tagalog. Watch it out. Crypt Tagalog. Crypt in Tagalog. So doon bawal si Sly kasi Crypt Tagalog nga. Pero that's a joke. No, we can be guesting Sly also on that segment. Pero yeah,
Guest lang, guest.
kailangan niya mag-Tagalog. Sasabihin niya doon nakakapagapag. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for standing in with us up to until this right moment, no? So, maraming salamat. This is our maiden broadcast for the year. We're running 1 hour 43 minutes na pala. Sorry, we got a little bit overtime. Pero yeah, thank you. Dami pa rin nakastay sa atin. Ano? Thank you very much, guys. And we'll see you again next time.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. Great week ahead.